A brief overview, Ask Ubuntu, it's on the screen back there. It's managed and run by the Stack Exchange network. These are the same people who've made amazing sites like Stack Overflow, Superuser, Server Fault, and they really have embraced the idea of questions and answers. People asking questions, people giving them the answers, and cutting out all the rest of the fluff like discussions and other things that really aren't important to answering people's questions or giving them solutions. So I'm going to just jump through different things that you may not know about Ask Ubuntu, different outlets in which you could use it as a person who is knowledgeable in Ubuntu, or whether it be a certain part of Ubuntu or using the operating system in general. And then field questions, and then hopefully find some actionable items, maybe get some commitment from people to help the site out more. We have a lot of users, and especially with the last release, we have a surplus of a lot of great questions and users asking questions, and we're really having a hard time just keeping up and giving them the answers. So we're really looking for people in the community to help engage, and it's not that big of a commitment. You don't have to say, oh, I'm going to answer 1,000 questions a day, but a question or two a week really helps goes a long way for our unanswered rate. So this is the site essentially. Logging in is real simple. It's OpenID. You can use your Launchpad, your Ubuntu single sign-on by going to the login button and then just choosing one of the OpenID providers. There are also more options if you don't use one of the primary ones up here, and then if you have your own provider, you're the cool ones that roll their own or have their own in their blog. You do that down here in the URL field. So
I want to point out before we get going, when you're talking with beginners and all that kind of stuff, anyone can answer or ask a question without making an account at all. So if someone's like, dude, I don't want to make an account and all that stuff, they can just go ask their question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm logged in under incognito mode in Chrome. I can go to this question about AMD Catalyst. I can type my answer in. And then at the very bottom, it tells me to log in or just to provide my name, my email address, and then a home page if I so wish to provide it. That's all. It'll create a cookie for you, but you can destroy that cookie and log in anonymously as many times as you want. So you don't get to do all the cool features like voting and such like that when you're an anonymous user, but if you just find a quick solution you want to provide it for someone without having the commitment of making an account, which is through OpenID, so you can do that as well. I'll leave this page. So I find that when I first started using Stack Overflow and Stack Exchange, the biggest problem that I had was, especially in Stack Overflow, there are a lot of questions in the stream. I only know so many languages. I don't know anything about Microsoft languages at all. So one thing I use on Stack Overflow a lot, and I use here as well a little bit, as you can see on the side, is I filter my tags on the homepage. So that's pretty much just adding tags into your favorite. For instance, if you happen to know a great lot about Ubuntu 1, you can just type in Ubuntu 1 and add that to your list. And what that'll do, and I don't have any tags on the front page. Let me just add applications. I happen to be an applications genius as well. So what that does is that highlights questions in your feed. So you can usually pick out the ones that you probably know the answers to, or you at least know enough information about to help provide the user with a solution. And so that really is beneficial when there are so many questions on the home page. These are all within the last 2 hours are new questions. So it can be kind of daunting at first to filter and find questions that you're familiar with. So adding favorite tags and then likewise adding ignore tags. For instance, if you know nothing of Compiz and want nothing to do with it on the site, adding that ignore tag will fade those questions out. So it really helps to filter and bring to attention the questions you likely know how to answer. Go ahead and strip these down. One thing I also discussed in the last session, if you didn't attend, there are ways to subscribe to certain tags. So if you're again following the applications tab, you can just hover over applications, and you can subscribe via email or via RSS. So you can get an RSS feed or an email digest of all the questions that are asked about that have the applications tag on it. So that's an alternative method for you to follow tags. If you don't want to constantly have to go to the site, or if you don't sit on the site very often, instead you use an RSS feeder or something like that, or digest emails work better for you. And that way you can just go through your emails, your RSS feeder, find questions that you probably know the answer to, and then click through that way. And that's another way that you as an expert in the Ubuntu community somewhere can help to answer questions, or something you're knowledgeable in, help to answer questions in that area.
Now, based on our last discussion where I had a couple of suggestions about trying to get the locos more aware of this and using it more, and we talked about importing Launchpad information and that complexity, but in between I thought, what about just allowing a tag to be added that says, you know, Vancouver,
No.
New York.
Yeah, George already answered it for me, but that's,
I see what you're trying to say. The problem with that is it's like, how do I bookmark a site in Firefox Vancouver? How do I bookmark a site in Firefox Detroit? At that point, you don't really need the location, I don't think, Matt. I think what will be better would be for local teams to say, all right, everyone, what's the expertise we have in the room? Okay, he knows Upstart, he knows Firefox, he knows whatever. Let's concentrate on those group of tags.
And that's not what I'm after.
Okay.
So, I mean, there might be another way to do it than
Okay.
from a tag, but I'm building off of what Randall and I discussed last night, which is I might have a new Ubuntu user
Right.
that hasn't been exposed to the fact that there's a community. Somehow they've downloaded it, they've got a CD, and we need to now let them know that there's 4 or 5 people in their area using it. And anytime I can have that little ping go up and ripple, and somebody in the community can see, oh, there's a person from my community asking a question. This is an opportunity for me to answer the question and introduce them to the fact that there's a local community, there's an Ubuntu hour or whatever their meeting is called at, you know, this coffee shop, this
Right.
library next Thursday, to try to do 2 things. Leverage Ask Ubuntu to help grow the local community, but then also try to give the reasons for the local community to be encouraged to use Ask Ubuntu to grow the Ask
I've got
Ubuntu
an awesome
community.
you
idea.
keep pointing at me and that scares me.
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I've got an awesome idea, but I'll get to it in a second.
So to answer your question, actually, one of the community users, I don't remember who it was now, maybe someone in chat will remind me, but they actually worked on, you can actually put your location in the profile field. This
Alright.
may have been George Edison who was working on this.
No, I've got a better idea.
Okay. Well, essentially, let me go to my profile.
Just go to users. You'll see all the, you just click on users.
Yeah, this guy. So he has the location sets United Kingdom. You can set your location in the profile. It's an optional field and it doesn't have any restrictions on it. But one of the users on the site actually earlier tried to gather all the locations from users who are known and actually map them on Google Maps. So that's one way that we could potentially have something like that, where we can you could find users in your area on Ask Ubuntu and follow questions that they have. That's something that we could bolt onto it using the API.
And I would love to bolt that on, not to Google Maps, but OpenStreetMap.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, the medium in the end is...
We don't want to get charged.
The results the same. The result's the same, but the medium we can choose, whichever
Yep.
works out.
Dude, I have an idea.
Okay.
Go to loco.ubuntu.com. Tell me if this is awesome or horrible. And then pick Vancouver, or just do a search, or yeah, that'll work.
Ooh. I guess this is the one that's actually...
Which one is it?
There's no official one.
Vancouver local team?
Ubuntu Vancouver, first one.
Ubuntu Vancouver? Okay.
Okay, scroll down. Where does it have the list?
Muller's wrong.
We don't list users in a loco on the local directory?
Did you
No.
get to the Launchpad page?
Launchpad will do it.
Yeah. Now, what I'd love to see is where you have photos. If we had Ask Ubuntu contributors listed down there.
Hold
under
on.
there.
So here's part 2. Open a tab and go to a Flare page.
Oh, shit, I'm on. I know, that's wrong. Sorry.
Hate that.
Go away, dash.
I think it's
Where the heck? Oh, they have a whole new tab for it now. It's down here. There.
Flare. There it is.
Used to be on the side there.
What about if in the loco directory, experts in your area, and it just had a list of all those
Yep,
topics?
that would be awesome.
That would be sweet.
And that gives the ability for a user to opt in to contacting someone in their area. Because I
Yeah.
don't want a user to have to self-identify themselves and make them feel
Right.
comfortable, but having them be able to find the people in the area.
That is sweet.
That's one way we can do it. The emails aren't publicly exposable through the API, but they have a MD5 hash of the emails, which are used for the Gravitative site. So we could take all the emails from the local directory, MD5 hash them, search the API for them, and then pull those users and put them on a local page. So there's some sort of automation to that.
Make-
Do you want to
Cool.
add that as an action?
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into that this cycle. It sounds like an amazing idea to help connect the community.
Right, because then you're like, oh, okay, I see, you know.
Yep, and it makes it more personal. And
In the
more
meantime,
welcoming and friendly.
you could just have, people have questions, they post it on here, but then post it to the local team. Hey guys,
Yep.
I'm having a problem, you know, and maybe end up calling the person over the phone and then just self-documenting the answer, and then you're all set.
Yep.
But that's another thing that you mentioned, using Vancouver tags and tags like that. That's generally a bad idea, and I'll explain why, and why George was so quick to say no to that. We had a problem similar to that on the site a while ago, where it ends up becoming a meta tag, a tag that means absolutely nothing, doesn't contribute anything to the post in the end. We first started off, we had this great idea, we were going to tag everything: Ubuntu desktop, Ubuntu server, Kubuntu desktop, Ubuntu desktop.
Man.
I was one pushing for it too. I was like, this is a great idea.
Me too, man.
I don't know.
what
We're going to organize the whole site into tags, and we realized that 80% of these questions are Ubuntu desktop. Having that tag there is not helping anyone.
It didn't help you sort.
It really doesn't help anything at all. Kubuntu desktop could simply be tagged KDE, or if it's not even a KDE relevant question, it's someone using Capote, I think is what it's called, or something like that. So it would really be tagged by the actual application that they're having a problem with, not KDE in general, because it's not a KDE issue. So that's kind of runs on the same vein.
Yeah, that's why we don't have tags like beginner, expert.
Advanced.
Like we don't really, we want the tag to be like offline will be the example of a horrible tag, right? That
Right.
mono-develop thing should be, where can I get mono-developer offline? That should be package management, C# mono-develop, not
So-
offline. Because like, what does offline mean?
Yeah.
Is someone going to click on offline and look at all the offline problems and fix them for somebody? No.
So this is something that also you guys as community members can really help out with, is editing questions. Anyone on the site can edit a question, even if you don't have an account.
Let me see
What-
if I have a pending edit because I want to show it what people
Now,
say.
as another thing, as somebody that's in the loco team, and I'm willing to take an action item when we formulate how to best do this, I think we should come up with a guide or a packet, because I hear a lot of what you're saying is useful for everybody in the room and everybody listening, but I'd really like to develop a small packet and set of instructions on how a loco team can educate their loco on how to use this. So have them have like a presentation that we pre-packaged for them that guides them through this process, and let them take that to their loco as a meeting.
That would be great. I know the site, the Stack Exchange really likes to push their site as learning through discovery. So they have a very bare bones documentation. Their FAQ, or the FAQ on the site, essentially all the documentation you really get, which is what kind of questions you ask here, what kind you don't, proper etiquette, how do I log in, what is reputation. Very basics get started with the site, but a lot of the advanced features you kind of have to figure out
It's like a
as you
game.
use the site more. So
It's like, oh, I can't do that. What do I need to do that? Oh, okay, I need to answer. You know what I'm saying? Like it's purposely.
But we've also developed a culture, like you said, around
Yes.
the tags. So we have some things that might not be in the generic Stack Exchange
right.
thing, and that's one of those things where, I'd like to go ahead and develop that, so we just give every loco leader a nice, easy format to go take that as a topic to their loco. If they want to make it a presentation or an informal coffee chat, let them have both options, but build it for them so they don't have to build it.
Right, I think that's a great idea in general to help educate local users, which we'll be looking forward to as much as you guys to help with keeping contributions to the site clean and quality.
Something I think that would help in there, Charles, for local teams is kind of, especially like training sessions. Like people see this and they automatically assume it's a forum. So when people are new and they say, I need to do foo, and then someone leaves them a comment, well, did you check this, this, and this? The person posts again, right? Which is totally like how forums and mailing lists work, right? Up, down, you, me,
Not editing
you,
the upper one.
Right, the way we work is edit, 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 done.
Right, so on that note,
I found that's really, especially with how huge like our forums are and stuff, and when people try this, they totally like.
it takes a bit to
miss
get
the-
used to. It's
yeah.
definitely a different format. It's more The About page has a great image to explain what we are actually trying to do and what this site really is in relation to other sites. Oh, hey, phone. So, I mean, we are essentially the asterisk in the middle of this diagram. We are, okay. So, I mean, we're a wiki. We're similar to Dig and Reddit with voting. We're a forum in that we have comments and people are posing questions to users. We're also a blog in that people are self-documenting things and people are keeping things up to date. So all these combined, all these kind of ideas and tools combined really make up the Stack Exchange engine. So one thing that you guys can do, I mean, there are such a wide variety of questions. You may not find a question that's really in your vein of expertise that you can easily answer right away. And so instead of hunting down questions on the site, which can be time consuming in general, editing questions that come in to clean them up. For instance, this one: where can I get monodevelop offline.devdeveloper, the one George is asking about?
Do you want me to edit that one as an example?
Yeah, you don't go into the approved tag though anymore, do you? I was going to say is that, there's a...
Oh, do an anonymous edit then.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kind of show you how. This is where I think logos can help, because I don't even need somebody to be an expert. I just need someone who knows how to capitalize words,
Yep.
make them make sense, and add a question mark at the end. So he's going to log in as if he's...
They won't let me do anonymous edits because I haven't actually contributed anything yet. So
Oh, do you have like a...
I'm going to make a quick sock puppet.
Okay.
Don't do this in real life. People don't like multiple accounts on the site.
So just to go back and explain why I emphatically said no, one of the great things about this is compared to Stack Overflow and Superuser, we're a lot smaller.
Yep.
So we get to like learn from like the lessons and stuff that they've had. And I know there's a criticism of the site that I've heard many people say, why can't I have a question arguing about Vim and Emacs all day? The whole point, like keeping a very, very, very strict, narrowly focused thing, like only one arrow, but it's 2 miles long instead of multiple little arrows, is that...
People have asked you why they can't have
Oh, yeah.
Vim and Emacs.
Oh, yeah, why can't I argue about, Unity on the side stuff?
That's
Oh,
you have that in the order.
Is, like, we are concentrating on being, one thing and one thing only. Ask a technical question or a community, whatever question, and you get an answer, no fluff. So if people have a problem with that, then that's okay. Because we have thousands of other avenues where people can discuss stuff in a open and in a like a more sitting around a campfire BSing, where this is like
Right.
designed to be a technical system. So that's why when we came out, someone was like, "Oh, we can use this to replace Brainstorm." We were like, "No."
all right, it didn't work out very well for me because it opened up in my default session. Let's pretend that worked for a second, I guess. So there's an approval queue, is what we're trying to show, where you can make an edit as a low reputation user, if you have less than...
Wait, have Charles do it.
What do you want me to do?
Go to the mono-develop question.
It's on the homepage.
Just go to the...
I guess while he's doing that, I'm going to show you what the edit screen looks like real quickly, just so you understand what would be a good idea. So when you press edit, it opens up an inline editor. Things we look to fix is, people usually sign their name at the end of a post. They'll say thanks, and then their name, or they'll send, thank you in advance. That's great. We really appreciate the kind of thanks and sentiment, but we usually clean that up a bit because the posts are always signed by the user at the bottom. So what we do is we try to enforce the idea that you can say thanks by voting. When you find an answer you like, vote that answer up. So we usually clean the posts up like that. There'll be grammar errors or other spelling errors where I get monodevelop offline. Where can I get?
Don't save your edit because he's gonna...
Yeah, so I'm not going to save the edit. Then sometimes they'll have code. There's a whole bunch of, I'm not sure if anyone here is really familiar with the Markdown. Markdown, yeah. It's not like the Moin Moin wiki. It's a little simpler, I think, in my opinion. But the little Markdown editing help button shows you how to insert links, images, how to style things. The toolbar up here also is easy to use. So if you're inserting a line of code, You can just simply highlight that and click the code button, and that sets it up. 4 spaces indented is for multiple lines. You can also do backticks here and here. So that'll also turn that into a code piece. Links are pretty simple as well. You just highlight the text you want, press the link icon. Other formatting options are in here as well. And it pretty much follows the markdown guidelines. Then tags, offline is not a tag, I'm going to remove that. Package management, I think is what we've decided would be a good tag for this. All of our tags are treated like wikis. So most of them have a description about what the tag is. And then you can actually click through further to find out
Info.
yeah, the info tab, which will show you, this one doesn't have a more detailed information, but the 11.04 tag does. So it has a snippet, which is showing everyone who types a tag in, and then it also goes into more details. So we treat these almost like miniature wikis, where we can pile in information for users, so when they're viewing tags and viewing things that are tagged this nature, they can find out more information about that.
Going through and adding links to the official wiki from these little mini wikis would be a great, I think you get 2 rep for each.
Yes, any edit you guys make, you get 2 reputation points for it. That's what I was going to sum up with, is that you can get reputation, gain reputation on the site just by editing and cleaning up things. And for most people who are native English speakers, it shouldn't take that much time to go through and just edit a couple things and save. So that's another commitment you can make that isn't so time dependent in order to help the site out. We can really use people that are editing questions as they come in, clean them up, so other people can easily find and answer those.
It's been a while since I've used the Ubuntu, but are the tag pages you just showed editable then by people with much lower reputation?
Yes, anything that's editable on the site
Goes through the queue, which will show them now.
with the exception of the.
Wait on him.
Because there was a point on this site
Someone
that was new
approved
where I
it.
had
Someone
like
approved
by
it.
far the
No, I
most
haven't saved it
reputation
yet.
on
Oh,
some topic.
Yeah.
It was not enough
Go
to
ahead,
actually own the tag.
Yeah, that's a new
I
word.
want to make sure these guys don't
This is the
sign
last
the
six months.
queue
They
because
just
they're
like,
always watching that approval.
they took away, like before, it's like you had to have 3,000 reputation to edit.
Right.
Now anyone under 300 just submits and it gets into a queue, and I'll show you what that looks like. 'cause it's
So go ahead and save the edit.
Save it.
And I'll show you guys the queue.
And we're going to show them the queue.
And then everyone over 10,000 rep can look at this. Wait, hold on. Yeah, that's fine. Save edits. Okay, you're good.
So you'll see a number pop up if you have a high enough reputation level. This shows the pending edits. So you can see, I can see that C Prophet has made a proposed edit of 6 seconds ago where he's fixed tags, he's changed the text in the title, and it shows a diff, essentially an inline diff between the items. I can approve, reject, improve, or delete this edit altogether. In this case, it is an excellent edit, so I approve it. By doing so, okay, chat, sorry about that. By doing so, he'll get to reputation, and the edit will be automatically added to the page. Kill this. Thank you.
Oh, I was hoping she would say something embarrassing.
No, thankfully not. So that's one measure that you can change the site, and I'll go ahead and go to that question again. When you make edits, the questions also get pushed back to the top of the homepage. The homepage shows the questions with the most recent activity, whether it be an edit or an answer or a new question asked. So that's another way to help get questions back up to the homepage. If you find a really old question that looks like it's a decent question, it just needs to be edited and changed. By editing the actual question, it'll push it back up and get more eyes on the issue.
Something I tell new users a lot is post your question, and then when you go and you start doing your research to try to find the problem yourself, you keep adding information to your question and making it better. And then each time that does that, it bumps it to the top of the site, and then everyone sees it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then while it's getting bumped down, people might tell you to try different things. You'll try them. You'll edit the question, and it'll go back on top. What's great about that is like someone asks an X question, right? And I can go in there and add a comment and say, hey, add this, 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 and this. So by the time Bryce gets around to seeing the X question, the users already has all the info. You know what I'm saying? Bryce doesn't have to read 35 threads of, finally he's saying what kind of video card it is, right?
Right.
So users like you and me, I mostly concentrate on making the question presentable to people. If I know it's an obvious hardware issue, I have a pre-made comment that I say, hey dude, add add this information and stuff, and that keeps bumping it, and every time the user improves their question, there's a greater chance that,
Someone will find a solution.
yeah, because there's more information there.
When they improve their question, do you remove your comment telling them?
I do, yeah, usually.
Yeah,
Or I
people
might
don't.
leave it around.
If it's the hardware one, because I want people to see that,
I'll leave it around.
Sometimes you don't. I mean, I'll get into how you can flag moderators for more attention in a second, because that's a really important part of the site as well. Is people who don't have as high rep but find something that needs to be fixed, they can flag higher level users to fix things. In this case, now that the edit's done, you can see that the ownership of the question is still maintained. It shows that it was actually edited 2 minutes ago, and if you click on the 2 minutes ago, it'll actually show you the entire history of the question. So you can see where it started and where it ended up. In case someone makes a malicious edit, there are ways to roll back the edits and really maintain an entire history of the question to really help to keep promoting the quality so people just don't anonymously edit things and inject stupid modifications and such. So
go back later.
that's done. As you were mentioning about getting comments deleted and such, if you add a comment, or if you see a comment that's old on the site that doesn't need to be in there anymore, I'm going to really confuse this user. What you can do as a user coming by is you have the option to flag. I can't flag my own comments. Just delete. Well, there's a delete button at least. You can edit and delete comments. But I'll show you on posts rather than. So if you come across a post that's a duplicate, or that it's a low quality question, or that is actually any one of these reasons, it doesn't belong here section. It's a duplicate, it's off topic, it's not a constructive question. So people that are asking for opinions, or people that are soliciting why is Unity this, or people saying why is KDE the default desktop environment in Ubuntu. Those kind of questions really aren't constructive for this site. They're more discussion pieces. So that's what really not constructive means. It's not a good fit for a question and answer format. And then not a real question, of course, is people who are just ranting. So if someone goes and makes this huge rant about how they absolutely despise Nautilus,
Right.
that doesn't really belong on the site. That's more blog nature. That more goes on to, dare I say, the forums or something of that nature, or discussion can be spawned from that in IRC.
Right.
It doesn't do anyone any good here.
Especially vague ones like,
Why
how do I
my
use-
internet broken?
yeah,
Okay.
how do I use Apache? It's like, well, go try to use Apache and then ask us the specific questions that you have is like what we want in that case.
And then, of course, there's two localized, and we've really been using this closed reason when people leave comments or answers that say, oh, I just reinstalled Ubuntu, and they can't really replicate the issue anymore. Or if the question hasn't been really looked at or touched in the last couple of months, you can assume the user has abandoned the question. So you can flag it as too localized, because having it sit open there basically means that someone can come in being hopeful that someone will get an answer for that question, and it may just be they need to ask a more updated question for that. So we don't have a problem with closing older questions in preference for newer questions being asked about the same topic. So we've had issues where a long time ago someone was asking a question about Network Manager, and they kind of abandoned the site. They never showed up again for a couple months. Someone had that same issue, and what they did is they opened up a new question that they can put their details into, and we closed the older question as a duplicate of the newer one. So people who came across the older one via search knew that the updated conversation, the updated thread, the updated information for this issue was being tracked on a newer question. So that's kind of what you can do between exact duplicate and too localized. There are a couple other closed reasons that you can flag for. If it just needs attention for whatever reason, you could just put a comment in here saying exactly why. If it's maybe really inflammatory comments or something like that where it just needs someone to look at. If it's spam, we do get spam on the site, unfortunately. A lot of people trying to sell fake Rolexes on the site. Just flag it as spam and someone will come by and delete it. And then this question, it is not welcome in our community. Again, it's the more offensive, abusive, or hateful.
Yeah, that's just someone being the internet. Right?
Mhm. So when the internet does crawl into the site, that's what you can use to help get our attention to close the site. And that's, by our, I mean moderators and users who have the closed level reputation. That's flagging. You can do the same thing with comments as well, with a little flag next to it. So if there's a comment that was asked, someone like George was asking, hey, put your hardware information here, and they've already done and updated all those steps, you can just flag those saying they're obsolete, and we'll come by and clean them up. Comments really are there just for the moment to help prod the user to get the proper information to the question. They shouldn't actually have any real information in them, and they should become obsolete rather quickly if the user is active. Comments are, we try to keep the comments to a bare minimum just to avoid that form situation. And we have other methods which to help prevent that form situation from boiling up. So if a thread has more than 20 comments going on, it'll say, oh, hey, you have 20 comments going on. You may want to check out this web-based chat system, which will allow you to carry real-time conversations on the site.
And the system will automatically make the two users having the comments a special room and log the whole thing. And then when they're done, they can put that
Right.
on the question.
So what's nice about this is it'll start a room for you guys. It's a personal room for you guys to go in, everyone who's participating in the comments. And the chat's persistent. So even if the user doesn't come in for a month later, they will see whatever was said prior to them logging in. So that's one of the advantages this has over, say, telling them to go into IRC where they have to wait for both of them to be present if they don't have a constant running session.
So there are chat rooms per question, basically?
They are created on the fly
Yeah,
depending
on
on
the
the
fly.
situation.
Okay. And they're persistent.
But yeah, I think I might be able to find one in here. Yeah, here's one that was imported comment discussion from this question. So the actual question gets put in the top of the topic, and then all the comments are pulled in, and then it invites those users. It sends them a notification in their inbox system, which looks something like this up here.
I think this is new too compared to the last time you.
Yeah, this is something that they've really been pushing is to help integrate chat. So this right here, they call this the Stack Exchange Super Collider. It brings in hot questions, activity from all different sites, and then also has an inbox. It notifies you when people leave comments on your questions, people leave answers on your questions, if people ping you in chat, and it'll put an inbox in here and a little red circle with a number of how many pending messages you have unread will show up so the users know, oh, I can go into this room now. So it really helps to make sure the user knows that that option is available for them when it creates a chat room. It sends a little notification that they can go in here to carry the conversation. So that's just another way that chat really, or that the Stack Exchange and Ask Ubuntu in general helps to keep comments like that down to a minimum. So the idea is go in the chat, do a lot of further debugging, update the questions and answers once you find the solution, and then you've solved the problem, you can move on. And that's how they can help integrate that idea of back and forth discussions, which you kind of need sometimes when troubleshooting issues without having to clutter the site up.
Can you go into the unanswered tag and kind of show these guys like how to, if I'm an expert in an area, how can I follow the tags for wine? Even though I know he knows how to do this, but.
Follow the tags?
Yeah, so let's say I'm a wine expert, right? And I come to the site and it's like really busy and all this. It looks like a huge change log. So can you show me like the unanswered tabs and stuff?
So you can go into the tag section and anytime you want to find different tags in the site. So if you are a wine expert,
Let's just do wine.
type in wine.
I'll encourage Scott to come back to me.
So there are 240 questions tagged wine and 6 tagged wine tricks. So if you click on the wine tag, it'll show you FAQ section first, which is basically the highest viewed questions that are tagged wine. How do I install wine is obviously one of the most viewed. It's the most easily searchable and indexable. And then going further, there are other questions.
The second one's a pretty
Steam?
horrible question.
Yeah. How do I install Windows software in Ubuntu? Things of that nature. If you're looking to find questions to answer and you're a wine expert, the unanswered tab in the top here will bring you to the questions that need to be answered, sorted by the highest votes. So as people come by, they agree with the question. For instance, like I have bad sounding wine as well, and this basically covers all the stuff that I have. I'll upvote it, and this will give it a 4. So that helps to weight it in the unanswered list. So you can find questions that people are actually upvoting the most and help to solve those first as they get the most attention in general. So there are a couple comments going back and forth, and then no answers. It's a wine audio issue, so it's probably difficult to troubleshoot to begin with, but that's one area that you can go in to find questions that need to be answered in your area of expertise. And you can also set up RSS feeds from this page, as you can imagine. If you look at the very bottom, there should be an RSS button.
I think it's an RSS for the incoming questions now.
That's just the incoming questions.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, let me just-
There.
Yeah, so you can get an RSS feed, like I said earlier, the RSS button inside the tag hover menu. The same thing happens on the bottom of the pages. Each page that has an RSS feed for it will be at the very bottom, little RSS icon, and that'll bring you to the RSS stream.
If the tag is removed, will that remove it from the RSS feed?
Yeah, once the tags don't really ever get deleted on the site. It's a very difficult process to delete a tag.
Not
So,
delete the tag, but remove it from the question.
oh yes, if you remove it from the question, then it should remove it from the stream as well. I would imagine so. I haven't actually tested myself. I have to look into that, but I imagine that would be the case because it's just going to pull everything from the database in that tag.
Not every RSS reader might update at time.
Oh well, if your RSS reader caches, then it may not find that difference. It may still be in there, even though it was removed. The tag was removed.
Whatever, minor issue.
There's some discussion.
Was it?
For discussion.
Mhm.
What is about the tips how to write a good answer? I wonder if in other contexts we can maybe ask people to prioritize the guide to screenshots, so without using terminals. So
Yeah, so something I do for my answers, sometimes I sit there and I just take screenshots and add them to other people's answers. When we were smaller, it was really, really easy to get people to ask screenshots. So what I do now the site has a feature, this is you too, Scott, is it lets me give my reputation up as a bounty. So when we updated, can you go to the how to configure Unity question?
Yeah. Figured you'd go to that.
Yeah, good. So we had this answer for 1104. Scroll down. Right. This one is actually complicated, but it has screenshots. And I wanted this updated for 1110, but I didn't want to go do this again. So I put 500 of my reputation and said, this needs to be updated to 1110. And then I said, the ideal answer will contain screenshots, blah, 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 blah. That way the people going after the bounty, because, 500 is a lot, and I have 20,000 to give away, right? They actually really would do really thorough answers.
Right, so the idea behind the bounty is I can start a bounty on any question. It doesn't have to be your own question. It could be anyone's question. And you can offer any number of reputation points up for that bounty, anywhere from 50 to 500. So if you have, say, 1,000 points, and we put 500 points up for someone to answer this question, every answer that comes afterwards is eligible to receive that bounty, and you're the one who chooses which person the bounty goes to. So even if the person accepts another answer, you still decide who that bounty goes to, and you can add bounty even after the question has been answered. If you want to probe for additional information.
Myself and a few people use the view with CSS viewed, because we know which questions have the most amount of views. And before 1110, we went through top views and found all the ones that needed screenshots and went back in there and did that. But yeah, in general, I wish more people would.
I think that's great. So there's no possible to add it as a tip or a great answer throughout the prioritize, GUI.
We should update the guide that we made earlier, probably, to have that in there.
What do you mean?
The guide we made, how to give great answers and questions.
Talking about screenshots?
And about
Prioritize GUI to terminal.
Yeah. Because what we do, some questions will have the accepted top answer will be the GUI, and then the next one down will be the terminal.
I think that's a great way of doing it. Just to make it more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that brings me to the next point is I haven't actually spoken about the meta at all, and it's something that's quite different from most of the other sites that I've dealt with in the community. So Ask Ubuntu has its meta site, which is basically the same exact platform as before, only it's about questions and answers related to the site. So if you have a question about how policies run, or if you want to bring up possibly improving the questions and answer page or improving the FAQ, all that discussion goes on in the meta page. You can see how policies are formed on the site. It's a very fluid site in that the community really makes its own guidelines for the site. What's on topic, what's off topic. Early on, we decided that unofficial distributions shouldn't be supported on the site. Things like Mint, Backtrack, etc., that aren't actually recognized as official distributions. All that discussion and all that decision making actually happened in meta. Instead of someone just saying, we shouldn't do this. We got a lot of community feedback about what we should support, what the scope of the site should be. And all that takes place in the meta page. And there is a couple of tutorials.
Yeah. There you go.
There's video tutorials. And then there's this huge how Ask Ubuntu works section, which we should probably break out a little bit.
Yeah, this is kind of my mess.
So
I could use some help there, hint, hint.
yeah. So one thing that'd be great is we have this FAQ tab, which is where we can add additional FAQs outside of the main FAQ section. And it would be great to take, for instance, this how Ask Ubuntu works is jam-packed with a lot of information. Basics, asking good questions, giving good answers, keeping the site useful, running smoothly. All of these could probably be their own topic on Meta, and that way we can break out, that way we can link people to the FAQ user saying, hey, here's how this is, you just provided a link to an answer, to a forum post. This really isn't a high quality answer. Here's how you provide great answers. And then say, could you expand on this link a little more? And that way the user can find out more information about how to expand on the site and such, while informing other users who come along and see that post where the resources are on the site.
But to sort of roundabout ask your question, yes, a bunch of us are looking to make sure that we have as many screenshots on there. Up until we were doing great, then 11.10 came out, and now we're flooded, so we're a little bit behind. But generally speaking, I personally always upvote answers that have pictures, and I encourage others to do the same. So,
Also, another question about the kind of connection between different users. We're talking about the localization, it's quite important. If you're somewhere in your area, this can help increase value. I guess that's the problem. I wonder if there is also another way to connect people based on their hardware. So if someone has a MacBook, well, 6.1.
one thing you can do, go to the MacBook tag.
Yeah, that is why you're pleased to find
Right.
people at the same hardware as you. More than it's supposed to be. That's the big issue.
Well, that is okay.
So the tag is enough. Is the space.
Top users. Left. There you go. So these are the top MacBook. Surprisingly, Colin Watson. Unsurprising. So these are people that have asked and received the most votes in the MacBook tag, which could be useful.
Right, so if you're, again, along that line, if you're looking for, and this information, as you see, could be exactly defined where it even was, it's a lot of discovery on the site. You learn to use the site by discovery, unfortunately, and it has its advantages and disadvantages where, it keeps people engaged, always finding new things to do, but it could be hard to point the user in the right direction if they don't know where to go initially. And I know we talked about, during the integration session, including these users on different tags. So on the Unity.ubuntu.com, showing these as top users in the Unity tag on the site, so that people who go there for support can see that these users also know a lot about Unity or have received a lot of upvotes about the Unity tag, and vice versa. So that's one idea that we had spoken about, and making it more transparent on who the experts are in the community based on their reputation in Ask Ubuntu. And that's just, of course, one method to find experts, but it's one that we have an API readily available for.
The balance between free of the making interactive market with the people in the area.
That would. We should put the data dump of the users in Gorse or something and make a. That would be cool.
That's a, there was kind of
Rover time? Oh,
the
Rover.
organization.
Rover?
Is 10:45 the end? Okay. Are we on break now?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a long break, so we can stay a little while, but we got to be cognizant people will be hitting us at 11.
Yeah.
So I guess, like I said, there's a lot of different parts of the site that can really help the community out, and there's a lot of different areas that people can use to help, you guys can use to help contribute back to users, whether it's editing posts, answering questions that you know a lot of knowledge about and such. I think we got a couple of action items, right?
Yep, we got two. I'm going to try to build I want it to be really brief so that it's not going to overpower a local community, like a 5 to 10 minute little,
There's one pager probably.
yeah, something
Like the one that I had written up that just needs to be stripped, probably?
Yep.
Just steal it.
Do that, get that done, have you guys review it, make sure, yep, you didn't
Yeah,
do
that's
anything
fine.
wrong, and then try to get that pumped out to local team leaders so that they know it's there and available for them as a resource.
So sorry, I did come in late. Do you work for Stack Exchange or are you just a...
No, I'm a community moderator, one of 3 elected community moderators for Ask Ubuntu.
Okay.
So we had an election a year ago or so, I guess. But I've been using the site since the private beta, so I'm pretty familiar with the format itself. So it's myself and none of the other moderators are in the chat room, so screw those guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, his last video sort of brought some Stack Exchange down here.